Welcome to AzureTracks.com podcast. Today we're going to be speaking with our good friends at AzureCentric.com, Marcos Noguera, and we're going to be talking about Microsoft certifications and a little bit around how they're important to us. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our great discussion about Microsoft certifications.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Azure Centric podcast series. Thank you very much for listening one of our podcasts, and it will be available on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and you can always see it at the website AzureCentric.com. So today's podcast is about Microsoft certification. Why is so important the Microsoft certification? With me today, I have Andrew Lowe's. Andrew Lowe's, how are you today, my friend?
I'm very good, Marcos. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. So can you introduce yourself just for our listeners?
Absolutely. So my name is Andrew Lowe's. I've been working in Office 365 and Azure for about 5 or 6 years now. And prior to that, lots of administration and followed up the usual path of technology and got to advance a little bit every so often. And before I knew it, all of a sudden I was gaining more and more certifications and more experience. And it was helping to let me work with some really interesting people and achieve some of the goals that I had in my career. So for me, that's kind of how I've ended up here today with you.
So that's a very good point, and thank you for your introduction. One of the things that I listen a lot of times when I'm at the customer sites, and probably you doing as well, is we deal with a lot of technical folks. Some of them are brilliant minds, but why is important, and why, in your case or in your experience, become a Microsoft certified is one of the things that you pursue on your career? Why you think that's important?
So I think I have kind of two major views on that. So for myself, it's about validating the skills. So you can use Azure, you can work in Azure, but it's nice to have a validation. You can test on it, and Microsoft says, you know what, Andrew, you did a good job. Here's a little rectangle that says, good job, buddy. So that's a nice thing. It's a good feeling to validate your skill sets. And on the other side of it, it's also important because you can tell the world, hey, I've got this certification. I'm not just working in Azure, I know Azure. And Microsoft said, Andrew knows Azure.
Yes, and in my case, it's been one of my points on my career. I have a lot of certifications, and they follow me wherever I want. And it's a very good point that you bring that up, because in this case, I value a lot as Microsoft certifications. I've been reading lately why, if it's more valuable right now to have a certification, in this case, a Microsoft certification that we are talking about, or any kind of IT certification, or some of those master degrees or PhDs or an MBA on IT career. And that really depends. I think it's another topic for another podcast. But in this case, Microsoft certification for me, that I'm original from Portugal. I did work and live in Brazil, and now in Canada. They follow me, and they basically represent my knowledge. I can
Absolutely.
testify. I can testify that I have the knowledge on that subject. That's why for me it's so important, the certifications. Besides the proof that you have that knowledge on that subject, what other benefits do you think that you can have with Microsoft certifications?
So you're absolutely right. So one of the benefits is, somewhat what you were described is your certifications follow you. you can build on them, and you also get to show that progression. So much like in your CV, you like to see a candidate when you're going to hire somebody that's progressed over time and taken on more responsibilities, different things, they've grown. Your certifications, to me, are a bit about that as well. They represent some of the growth that you have throughout your career. Sometimes you may look at Power BI, you might work deeply into SQL reporting and analysis, but you may also work into Azure IaaS. So you can have multiple branches and do different things. And it's about showing your ability and your willingness to grow and adapt within the industry. And if that's not what Azure is about, I don't know what else it's about, because there's so much growth and
Yes.
evolution. I dare I even say on a daily basis in Azure that, as professionals in IT working in that space, we also have to be the same. We have to adapt. We have to be elastic, right? We need to
Yeah.
grow and shrink with everything that's happening and move around.
Yeah,
So
that's
for
right.
me, those certifications are about showing a potential client or employer, hey, I can do this. I can do that thing. And if I don't have a certification in widgets today, not a problem. I'm working in widgets. Give me a little bit. Let's go do a certification. And it follows you around. So you build that profile of progressing over time, right? It's the flexibility that it can bring for your career and the strength that it can lend you is really critical to longevity in IT, right?
Yeah, yes, I completely agree with that. But there are other benefits that you can have it. So, for example, the companies that they are Microsoft partners, they can raise their profile from a silver to gold, and because of that, they can have more benefits within Microsoft by having Microsoft professionals, in this case, Microsoft certified persons on their agreements. So by doing that, there is as well some benefits that you can have regarding companies. So that's why it's important for a company as well um, to have on their as their employees or as their contractors some of that personnel that is certified. They will have a lot of those benefits.
Oh,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, an MSP needs to have certified workers on their bench so that they can first, attain, like you said, the silver status. They're a silver Microsoft partner, or maybe a gold Microsoft partner. And it can even lead to things as an MSP, like better price points that they can offer to their clients as well. So having, if you're involved with an ISP or an MSP rather, or maybe an ISP, who knows? But the more credentials that you gain, as long as you're registered with that company, the company also gains more points with Microsoft, and it leads them to better benefits, which is also good for you as the employee because it lends to more work. So it's a really good relationship. I think symbiosis is probably what we would describe that as, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I see a lot of those things happening especially when you have people, for example, that they have a lot of certifications and they can choose different areas. For example, right now, AMNS, a partner, they can choose your certifications to go on one direction and explore different opportunities that inside of a Microsoft partnership they will have within Microsoft, and it's another way to show to their clients and customers that they are excelling on that specific area. So it's again for both, for the professionals because they can demonstrate that they know that knowledge, and from the companies that they have the right assets for doing that kind of particular job. So it's really good in this case, this environment and this symbiosis between professionals and companies. So what is, besides all of that, do you have any particular thing that you want to say to our listeners regarding why it's so important to become a Microsoft certified?
Well, I
Why
think
what did that to your career in this case?
so. My first certification was Windows 7 Enterprise Desktop, and it was really interesting. I remember it very well. Many years later, still, it was very scary to me. It was such a formal thing. Oh, this big company, Microsoft. I have to write a test and show them, that I'm okay to be a Microsoft certified professional. And you can work towards different credentials, and it changes over time. But at that time, it was MCSE, and it was about this big experience. And I remember just trying to bite a little piece off at a time. Okay, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to use a textbook and read and do that. But I found, for me, the best thing to think of it is kind of a selfish thing. And it's about making myself first. I need to gain that knowledge so that I can help my customers, clients, and my peers more. By doing that, I'm also helping myself, because then I can get this credential that says, hey, no, this person knows what they're doing with this technology. So it's good for me, but it's also, of course, good for the business. It's good for Microsoft. It's good for everybody, because we're promoting products, we're gaining new clients, we're using services and products. And these are all really good things to drive everybody's career forward that you're involved with. So for me, the most important piece is moving forwards, gaining that credential, gaining the knowledge, and showing that I have that knowledge by doing the certification that says, hey, you've got this knowledge, go and do some work now.
Yeah. In my case, the reason that I did opt for Microsoft certifications in this case is I was changing careers. And that for me, I was coming from a totally different environment, totally different profession, let's call it this way. At that time, I was a marine biologist, believe it or not. And I've just followed my passion. I was not happy being a marine biologist at that time. And I decided that I want to ingress on the IT career. And the easiest way that I found to just get a job and to prove that I really know the technology was by getting certified on Microsoft technologies. And that was my beginning. Since then, since 2003, I've been over, I don't know how many certifications, more than 100 certifications. I stopped counting a lot of time. A lot of them, they are already not valid anymore, but they still appear on my transcript. And that was one of the reasons. So only after that, only after like probably 10 years later, or even more than that, in 2007, probably that, in 2007, like 13 years later, that I decided to pursue the not Microsoft, an IT degree. But until then, I have a lot of time being a Microsoft certified since 2003. And yeah, so what was your last certification?
For me, it was Azure Administrator. 103 was the last one I did.
It's
And
a good one, right?
it was actually a lot of fun to do that one. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. As you know, we do a little bit of work here and there in Azure throughout our day. And it was really cool to get that validation. When you're studying for these exams, no matter what you know and how much you actually do hands-on, you always learn a little something.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that about that. It's a cool opportunity to
It is.
expand your knowledge, and then you get to apply it as well. But I really love opportunities to share that knowledge. When you're on a client site and they have kind of a really tough question, that's why they bring you in as a consultant, is to help them with that. And it's nice that you have access to such a depth of information through all that training that you can help people solve their problems.
True, completely. I 100% agree with you. And that could be another podcast talking about that that Microsoft certification, the Azure 103, the Azure administration. We should do that next time. Probably a special with some tips and tricks how you can study, just to show our listeners how they can achieve. Because if you and my achieve that, why cannot anyone reserve some time for that and achieve exactly the same result? Let's do that. That's a great idea. Thank you. So thank you once again, Andrew, for becoming partner on this podcast series on Azure Centric. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And please don't forget to follow us on social media, or either on our YouTube channel, on Facebook page, on a Twitter and Instagram. And if you like this, just give a thumbs up. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Marcos.